As you can see, as promised, the Jedi Master is here. Now, this is the bit of the housekeeping. What we're going to do is we're going to set up our question and answer lines over this side and over this side. We invite you to join the line. We also like to remind you that time is short here. George, welcome to the red carpet. It is so nice to have you back after such a long time.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Truth is that we are clones. He's a clone, I'm a clone. The only one that's not a clone is Rick. We tried to clone him, but we couldn't. He's one of a kind.
The mold's broke.
Too fat.
George, you are a fan of cameos. You've done a couple of cameos in movies as such. Do we expect a cameo in episode 3?
Well, I have a scene with Chai who was just up here, and she convinced me that I had to do the scene with her. There wasn't anybody else that could do it. So, and my other daughter is actually in that scene also. So I am in this film. It's the only Star Wars film I've ever been in, and I am an extra. It's like in a crowd like this. I'm over on the left over there, about 160 rows back.
So my question, if you're an
extra...
I still
had to pay him, though.
Yeah. That's a separate account. Now, as an extra, did they just put you in a tent somewhere with everyone else and then wheel you out when you were needed and wheel you back and forget about you?
No, I got to do it with blue screen.
Fantastic.
I did it later. And I'm blue. Chai-Ikwe's blue, too. So.
Well, there you go, a little excerpt there. We're going to start our question and answer. Nancy, who do we have there?
We've got Ryan from Illinois.
Ryan.
Hello, George Lucas. Why did you create Star Wars? What made you think about it?
You know, I ask myself that every day. Why? You know, sometimes I watch the movies. I mean, just was finishing this one, and about halfway through, you really do say, what in the world was I thinking about? You know, because they're weird. Let's face it. I did it because I wanted to make a film for young people, and I wanted to make a film that was an exciting story that had values and dealt with issues that young people confront. And I wanted to make it a lot of fun, something that people enjoyed watching. And little did I realize that they would enjoy it so much. And so I've spent the rest of my life doing it.
Thank you for your question, Dinah.
We have Anthony from Ohio.
Anthony?
Hello, Mr. Lucas. Thank you for coming today. We know that you're not going to make episodes 7, 8, and 9, but we also know that you probably thought about it a little bit. Could you share with us, would they have followed the Timothy Zahn books, or did you have something else in mind?
To be very honest with you, I never, ever thought about anything that happened after episode 6. You know, it just... I could always say, well, there is a backstory, because I did write the backstory, and I knew what the backstory was, and I had actually spent time on it. But the story is ultimately, as you'll see, now that you can see them all as one movie, you can see that it's actually the Darth Vader story. And, it starts with him being a young boy and ends with him dying. And that's really the whole story. And I never really thought, I mean, even the other books and everything, just sort of go off on their own path, because I never, ever really considered taking that particular story any further.
Thank you. Nancy.
Here's Marie from Illinois.
Hello, Mr. Lucas.
Oh, wrong one.
Over here. My question is about financing. I've gotten conflicting information. Do you finance your own film, or do you use gap financing?
What was the question?
Do you finance your own films, or do you outsource it?
No, I finance my own films. I didn't finance the very first Star Wars. I was a young lad and struggling in the film business, and I made one hit, American Graffiti, which was my second movie, and I took the money that I made from that movie and started working on Star Wars, and I started Industrial Light and Magic, and made Star Wars. And then after that, that was so successful, then I was able to take all the money from that and start my own company in terms of a financing company. And from then on, I've financed all my own movies and done them the way I wanted to do them.
Thank you.
We have Oscar from Turkey.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Lucas. Greetings from Turkey.
I just want to ask two things actually. First of all, there are so many fans outside of the United States, and is it possible to give a bit more attention on them? There's a complete lack of merchandising, and we can't even join the fan club if we want from Turkey, so that really makes us sad.
Yeah. Howard? Right there. Talk to that man right there.
That isn't really his department, but we do have somebody in the front row that would adhere to that. Thank you very much for your question.
Yeah, we try very hard to get coverage all over the world, and I'm surprised that there's a place where we haven't penetrated. To be very honest with you.
Obviously not in Turkey.
I'll make sure you have his home number.
Thank you for your question. Now is the time where you can't use flash photography, but you can use everything else except video. Right, over this side, please.
Mason from Wisconsin.
Hi, Mr. Lucas. Since this is your last Star Wars movie, what are you going to miss the most?
It has been a big family. You know, a lot of people have worked on these films for a long time. A lot of good friends, and we've had a lot of good times together. I continue to make movies and stuff, but the actual camaraderie of the making of the films and the having such a great fan base, to show the films to, is something that's unique in making movies, and I guess I'll probably miss that as I go off and make movies that nobody wants to see.
Thank you. Dinah?
We have Dan from New York.
George, thank you first and foremost. And secondly, Warwick Davis wanted to ask, is there a Willow 2, please? Please?
I was actually just talking to Warwick backstage, and we were communing on the possibility. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do a Willow TV series? So I can't say that we'll do that, but I'm sort of moving into television now, so a lot of ideas are sort of popping up.
Thank you. Nancy?
We've got Joe from Minnesota.
Good morning, gentlemen. I just want to ask Mr. Lucas, how much do you think we in the room and the fans all over the world will truly love Episode 3?
Well, I think, it's like all the films, fans are very individual, and they all have their own opinion. Star Wars fans are especially independent. I think, I hope most of the people love the film. I'm sure there's some that will say they don't like it. That's, you can't please everybody all the time. But I'm very happy with it. I'm extremely excited about it. It's the last piece of the puzzle. You then now realize that it's all one movie, one story, and it all makes sense as one piece.
We're very excited as well.
Thank you. Dinah?
We have Ken from New York.
Hello, George. First off, how many fans would like to see a Star Wars TV series? So in the advent of a dirty word, Star Trek, going off the air, are there more efforts into a Star Wars television series?
Well, we've been talking about Star Wars TV series. We're working on one right now, which is Clone Wars, which has been on the air, and we're going to try to expand that into a half an hour of 3D animation. And then we're also working on a live-action series, a spin-off, not with the main characters, but with other characters from the Star Wars universe. That we'll be trying to put that together in the next year, and then we have to write a year's worth of scripts so we can do it the way we did Young Indiana Jones.
Thank you. Yes?
Tyrone from England.
Oh, hello.
I'm wondering why you did the episodes in 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3.
Why you did it in that order?
Yeah.
Well, originally it was meant to be one movie. And I wanted to start in the middle. It was going to be a Saturday matinee serial. You never saw the first 3 episodes. You never saw what happened afterwards. And it was purely episode 4. I wanted to start in the middle. I didn't want to deal with, all the backstory and stuff. So I wrote the backstory. I wrote what happened in episodes 1, 2, and 3. And then I did episode 4, and episode 4 then grew. It got so big that I chopped that up and made it into 3 movies, which wasn't originally intended. And then when I finished those 3, Return of the Jedi, I didn't think I was going to go back and make any more movies. I just figured that was it. Even though I did have the story and everything for the other ones. And then it wasn't until quite later, and the success and the continuing support of the fans and everything sort of convinced me to go back and do 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you. So George, what you're saying is that the pressure from the fan base themselves and the continuing pressure over the many years, you decided that you would go back and you would do the prequels as they are now.
Well, it wasn't really pressure. It was just simply, we went and there was some discussion because we hadn't sold very many videos, VHSs, because when Star Wars came out, VHS didn't really exist. And they said, well, why don't we, clean up the films and reissue them? And I said, well, this would be a great time for me to go back and fix them because I've always been very unhappy with them. And I said, let me fix them, and then we'll reissue them. Well, when we reissued them, will we fix them? They said, well, gee, since you fixed them up, maybe we should put them in the theaters for a week or so. And I said, well, all right, let's try that. So we put it in the theaters, and obviously became one of the biggest hits of that year, which was a reissue of an old movie. And then the videos came out, and they were a giant hit. And we just said, well, with that, it was really as a support to say, yeah, there's still an audience there for Star Wars. That said, maybe I could. Because I don't mind making really small movies that nobody wants to go see, but I would, there was a lot of thought given to whether we should, invest vast sums of money in Star Wars if nobody was going to want to go see it. And I was insisting that we tell the story. I know a lot of fans wanted to see Darth Vader going around killing people in the first episode. But I said, no, it's a story about a 10-year-old boy, and everybody said, ooh, that's going to destroy everything. I see more American Graffiti coming down the road here. And but really everybody has supported the films, whether some people like them or not. They've always been supported, and I think they're always very entertaining. I'm happy with all of them, and I'm very happy that I'm finally finished and that you can see them all in one piece, because now I think it'll all be a different movie for you.
Fantastic. Yes, Dinah.
We have Kathy from Virginia.
Hello, Mr. Lucas. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
Some people think it's actually R2-D2's story that you're telling. And he seems to be saving a lot of people a lot of times. And is it possible for the droid to have the Force powers? Did you ever think about that? Maybe R2's a little bit more special than your average astromech?
Well, you're absolutely right. And this is R2-D2's story. R2-D2, if you think about it, and it'll be very clear in this film, R2-D2 is the hero. He is the one that gets them out of the mess. Every time they get into a mess, R2-D2 is the one that gets them out of it. And he doesn't need any special powers. He's already the most powerful person on the screen there. And he's the only one that survives all the movies.
Well, there you have it. Yes, Nancy.
Nick from Florida.
I just want to say you rock, first of all. And my question is, obviously, Star Wars has taken up so many years of your life, but what do you say to all of these wacky people that are here, that it's focused so much of our lives on your story? What do you say about that?
Well, I'm very grateful for you all, and I'm very surprised. I've known over the years, Star Wars is something to enjoy and to take away what you can from it that maybe helps you in your lives, but don't let it take over your lives. That's what they all say about Trekkies, and I know Star Wars fans don't do that, but the point of the movie is to get on with your lives, to take that challenge, to leave your uncle's moisture farm, to go out into the world and change it and save the universe.
Thank you. Yes, Diana.
We have Paul from Connecticut.
Well, Uncle George, because I feel we can all call you that. I'm not going to ask about Star Wars because I spoilered myself. I read Revenge of the Sith, and I'll tell you, you nailed it. My question, when's the Man in the Hat coming back?
As a matter of fact, I just received the new script 2 days ago, and I have yet to read it. It's one of those scary boxes, you sort of, oh gosh, what if it's bad? But I'm actually going to read it this weekend, and I'll be talking to Steven on Monday, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. So it's definitely in the works, and...
Thank you. I see the Elsie sitting in the front row here. How much do the creative teams influence your decision on what creates and what comes in and out of your universe as far as Star Wars is concerned?
Well, I always keep an open mind. I mean, I have a very strong opinion, and everybody's heard about that. I keep an open mind. I listen to what everybody else has to say, and if something fits into the large picture. The director's job is to keep the whole thing, the big picture, in his mind at all times, and everybody else is kind of looking at it from their point of view. And it's nice to get different points of view from different areas on the film. And I take what I think fits, and I don't take what I think might not work in the film. But I do try to listen to everybody, except Nick Gilliard, who I don't listen to at all.
Yes, he's a bit of a lad, that boy. We'll take a question over this side.
Rob from Wisconsin.
Rob.
Hi, Mr. Lucas. What color would your lightsaber be?
That's a personal question, isn't it?
That's a very good question. I have two lightsabers. I have a red one and a blue one. And, it's, I'm like Grievous. I sort of collect them, and then depending on how I feel that morning, I pick the one I need.
Thank you. Yes.
We have Jesse from Florida.
Jesse.
Hi, Mr. Lucas. In the next movie, the Confederates have a new weapon called buzz droids, I believe, that land on a ship and proceed to dismantle it. Now, why wouldn't particle shields deflect those?
Yeah. Yes,
What is that?
Yeah, they, sometimes the fans are a little disappointed when things are let out before they're meant to be let out. That wasn't tires that were let down there. That was just, yes. He's young, let him go.
What was the question again?
Why aren't there more toys in Istanbul?
We'll have to check the website, StarWars.com.
Yeah, there's all kinds of new and wonderful things in the movies, and what he was talking about is one of them. And it's a different way of attacking spaceships than what we're used to. It's not the normal, missile exploding. It's something a little bit more intriguing.
And I think you have to also understand that when you're asking your questions, you know full well that you've come to a house where everyone has the same religion. And so when you're starting to ask questions about other things, we're going to take, unfortunately, we're going to take two more questions, one from this side, one from that side. We're going to ask you all if you could please take your seats again because time is limited. We thank you very much for waiting patiently in line, but we're going to take the second to last question, which is from this side.
Tommy from Tennessee.
Tommy.
George, thank you for your time today. I'm curious, you've already told us we will not see a 7, 8, 9. So after this movie, the next thing we have to look forward to is the TV show.
Right.
I'm curious about the time frame of the TV show. And will we see any of the actors from 1, 2, or 3 cross over into that TV show to kind of keep a thread?
Well, there's none of the main characters from 1, 2, and 3, or 4, 5, and 6 for that matter. Actually, that's not completely true. Now that I think about it. We haven't really started the TV show, so it's hard to answer. But it is a possibility. It does take place between episode 3 and 4. So there's a lot of issues that are connected, but not very many people. You hear about people, but you don't actually see them.
Thank you. And our final question over here.
We have Timothy from Nevada.
Timothy.
Hello, George, and thank you.
Woohoo!
I'd like to ask you, will we ever see a movie that deals with the Knights of the Old Republic and the rise of the Sith?
Well, not that I know of right now. There was an issue of talking, if these TV shows work, then maybe there will be more. And if there are more, then we will go to other places like that rather than around the actual saga.
Thank you. As we are slowly winding this down, I also have a question for both the gentlemen here. If there was a Star Wars character that you wanted to play, who would that be and why? George.
That's such a tough question. Come on, that's not fair. I would be R2-D2.
And why would that be?
Well, because he gets to have all the fun, and he's the character that's got the biggest sense of humor.
Rick.
I would take after my physical being, Jabba the Hutt.
And obviously, now that you've completed this work, is it R&R time, or what is the focus now for you?
I'm working on producing a film about African-American fighter pilots during World War II. We're trying to get these TV series organized and set up. So we're pretty busy, even though we're finished.
No R&R. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you'd like to put your hands together for the Jedi Master himself, George Lucas.
We'll have to wait a little longer before we can judge Episode 2 for ourselves. But for Hayden Christensen, who plays Anakin Skywalker, he's already in the thick of the action. But how did he get there? Here's Hayden.
I was in Vancouver at the time doing the show, and I flew out just to meet with Robin. Over at some hotel down the street, actually. Just, normal conversation. We didn't talk about Star Wars, just about my experiences with acting and what I was doing. I guess she put that on. That was on tape, and George saw that. And then about maybe 2 months later, I went in and I met with George over the Skywalker Ranch. And that was just, it was nothing but cool. It was my first time, and it's very picturesque and very surrealistic. You've got llamas grazing fields, and then you walk into George's office, and there he is, George Lucas. It was exciting for me. We just sat down, we talked. Not about Star Wars, not about, we didn't even talk about the film industry, really. It was just normal chit-chat. I never really felt like it would come into fruition, that I would ever even test for it. It was just more of a field trip for me, going in and meeting George and getting to see the ranch. And when I found out that I was going to test for it, I still never thought that it would happen. It was just cool. So I went back about 2 months later to do the test screen with Natalie. And I've always respected her work. But it was hard because I didn't have a script that I could get a better idea of who this character was. Mm-hmm. Even though, he's Darth Vader and there's all these other films about him, I wasn't sure where he was in the development, in the progression of Anakin to Darth. So it was hard going into it. I was sort of in the dark. Right. And when I sat down with George, I got a better sense of what I was supposed to be doing. When George, when you see George, he's kind of like a rock star, He has this huge entourage that just follows him around. But when you're alone with him and when he's giving you direction, he makes you feel very at ease. Anyway, so then myself and Robin and Natalie and George went to a separate room just to rehearse it a few times, just ran over the lines, and then we went into where we were going to shoot the test screen. And then we rehearsed it a couple times on camera, and we shot it. And we did reverses and close-ups until George was happy with what we did. This is always what I've wanted to do. This has always been my dream. When I was about 7, my older sister was junior world champion on the trampoline, and they wanted her to do a Pringles commercial with potato chips, And she did it, and then afterwards they requested that she sought out to get an agent, which she did. And so when she went to go meet with one of these agencies, there was no one home to babysit me, and I was just along for the ride. They asked me if I wanted to do a few commercials, and I said sure. And that's how I originally got into it. But I didn't get the acting bug until I was in high school. I never really wanted to do television. I always wanted to make films. You know, I've always had a love for film, and the reason why I developed such an interest in acting was because at the time that was the only way I could be involved in film. So, you know, I couldn't direct, I couldn't produce stuff, I'd act. And I guess that's why I got into it. All my favorite work so far has been on stage. I've done a couple of professional productions, but you know, I did Hamlet. That would probably be my favorite part.
Hamlet may have been his favourite theatre role, but his childhood heroes came from a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Star Wars has always been a part of my life. You know, I grew up on it, so it seems weird in that sense. Before my time, but everyone's seen it and everyone loves it. We were big into the Star Wars and all the paraphernalia. My brother had every little figurine and every starship. He's 27. He was just, you know, he was fanatical about Star Wars. We used to, when Shadows of the Empire came out in Nintendo 64, we used to lock each other in my bedroom, you know, relay the controller back and forth until we, you know, became Jedi Knights. Yeah, no, if you play it too much, I remember he used to visit me in my dreams. You know, it just had such an impact. It was so different from everything else that I had seen. And you know, it affected so many other people that I knew. You know, so many of my friends are just fanatical about Star Wars. I mean, when Episode 1 came out, my entire high school vacated just to go to the first showing of it. You know, we all just rushed to the theaters to go see the noon showing of Star Wars. You know, we bought tickets for the theatrical trailers of it. I loved it. It was such a cool film. You know, I was always curious what Darth was going to look like under the mask.
Hi, today we're going to look at some Star Wars stuff and some other, well, mostly Star Wars stuff, some modern stuff, and some stuff from the 1980s and 70s. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's see what stuff we've got to look at today. Okay, here we've got a prototype Luke Skywalker from the Saga Blue Card Collection, the Throne Room Duel, with the actual figure as well. So this one's the prototype and this is the actual figure. So as you can see, the main differences are that this body is all black and this one is all painted up, and the hair is painted brown, the teeth are painted white, whereas this one, the head is just flesh coloured. The hand, both hands are the the left-handed painted. I think it's left hand, yep. And so you've got this figure here is the prototype, and you can see the head's unpainted, and the arms are not in the correct positions now. There's a switch in the back, you push it in, the button, and the arms move up and down. Like that. So this is Luke Skywalker Throne Room Duel from the Saga Collection, about 2003, 2004. And there you are. This is the prototype figure. Okay, articulation is, because this is a figure with features in it, because the arms move up and down when you press that button at the back. The arms are quite well articulated. The head swivels, no movement in the waist, and the legs just at the hips they move. No knee articulation. So there you are, Luke Skywalker, throne room. And then let's look at this Luke here. This is how the finished product. There's a variation with this figure with the hand painted, the other hand painted. And the lightsaber's magnetic. So he's got a magnet in this hand here that holds the lightsaber. And you press the button and it can move in the forward. Just like in Return of the Jedi when Luke's lost his temper and is hacking his father's arm off, Darth Vader's arm off. So there you are, you can see, and here the arm's in the correct position. On the prototype this arm's quite loose. So here are two figures, the painted and unpainted version. Luke Skywalker throne room. It's got quite a prominent button at the back. Press that and the arms move forward. So there you are, Luke Skywalker throne room duel. Okay, the figure comes with this base as well, which has this fence that moves, can be cut apart, and you can place the figure on there. So there you are. Let's see if it doesn't have the year on it. So there you go, Luke Skywalker throne room duel. Okay, this prototype figure can't really hold the lightsaber with both hands, so it can hold it with one hand, but it can't hold it with both like the actual production figure. So there you are, Luke Jedi. Okay, here's the actual production Luke. You can see this is quite flimsy, it keeps falling apart, the actual fence that Luke cuts down. And you can see him move his lightsaber forward and back in the slashing motion, just like in the film Return of the Jedi. So it's a great display figure. The lightsaber hilt's made out of metal as well, so that's really cool. You can see him whacking away. Bit of a whack job here. Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight. Throne room duel from 2002, 2003. Saga blue card, and here's the prototype figure. So you can see that his hair's not painted, and the body's just black. Also got the same motion. There you are, two figures whacking away. There you go. Okay, this is the backing card from the Luke Throne Room card. So you can see the 4-5 figures that were available at the same time. Darth Vader Throne Room duel, so that's a matching figure. Princess Leia, Organa captive. C-3PO, Snow Trooper, and Jango Fett in Camino Escape. Plus you've got at the top, you've got the actual description of the Luke action figure, plus the description. It says, captured and taken to the second Death Star, Luke is manipulated by the Emperor into lightsaber duel with his own father, Darth Vader. The two battle fiercely with their lightsabers, but then Luke chooses to yield the fight rather than destroy his father. Enraged, the Emperor turns to eliminate the young Jedi, and with him the galaxy's last hope. And it tells you how the figure works. It says, press belt back for slashing lightsaber action. The railing collapses, I call it a fence, the railing collapses when lightsaber hits it. Place left hand on weapon. Weapon is force attracted to hand. So we'll try that as well. And I think on that, the hands are, yep, it's painted the other way around. So on this version, the hand, that hand is painted. On this version, it's, so on both these versions, the other hand is painted. So let's try the Force action. There's the lightsaber. So it's removable, it's a metal hilt. You can push that back in. And then let's see if it can be force attracted to his hand. Let's see. Yep, there you saw it. The magnet in Luke's hand attracts the lightsaber. Okay, here we've got a Luke Skywalker Bespin outfit from the original trilogy collection from 2004, and it's graded by AFA, and it's quite a decent figure. It's got bendable knees, swivel waist, hips, slit cut elbows, swivel wrists, and a twistable head. So for its time, it's standard articulation of your typical OTC figure. So these are known as OTC Collection 2004, and they've got quite a retro-looking card. A really nice card actually. So it's got the double lines, just like in the vintage cards from back in the day, the 70s, and it has the way the name is done at the top is very similar to the vintage figures as well. It has a little picture there of Luke Skywalker in his Bespin outfit from Empire Strikes Back, and then here it has the original trilogy logo, and then it doesn't have a picture on the back of the card. It has an actual scene from the film The Empire Strikes Back, which is generally considered the best of the lot, though I say Episode 4 is my favourite. So you've got Luke Skywalker there in a sort of scene with a really large bubble. These cards came with quite large bubbles, and if I turn it around you can see the back of the card. And you can see a picture of Luke and Darth Vader having it out fighting. It's from The Empire Strikes Back, and some other figures. I haven't got any of these other figures, so this, you know, there's just too much coming out in those days, so you just couldn't keep up. So it says the rebel hero Luke Skywalker interrupts his Jedi training with Yoda to fly to the Cloud City of Bespin to rescue his friends who have been captured by the evil Imperial leader Darth Vader. As he fights to free his friends, Luke battles Darth Vader in a lightsaber duel and discovers that this terrible villain is in fact his own. Well, I'm not going to say because everyone knows. You've got advert in the corner to join Hasbro, or go to Hasbro.com. So there you are. And these are different figures you can get. TIE Fighter Pilot, IG-88, Snowtrooper, Tusken Raider, Greedo, and the Jawas, a Jawa 2-pack. So it's a really nice card. It says OTC number 26, Luke Skywalker, OTC collection. And there you are. Got Luke Skywalker there, and it's AFA graded. It's 2004 Hasbro Star Wars Original Trilogy, Luke Skywalker Bespin. It's a U85. U means it's uncirculated, so that means it's just been sent to AFA in a box and then not handled by anyone. So the U grade just means it's not been handled by anyone, and it's card gets 90, bubble 85, figure 95. So it's a high grade figure 95, and it looks really nice. You can get modern figures in AFA boxes pretty cheap these days. If you go on eBay, you can, not all of them. Some people know that charge about 20, 30 quid for them. But if you can find the odd one for about a tenner, and then you have to pay maybe £5 shipping on top. So it's a good price to get something like this for a tenner. There you are, Luke Skywalker, plus the shipping would bring it to about 15, 16 quid. So it's Luke Skywalker, OTC, Bespin outfit, 2004. It's about, how many years? 6 years now? 7 years now. Okay, here we've got a figure. It's not Star Wars, it's Battlestar Galactica. So this is from 1978-79. There weren't many figures released, but the TV show was quite popular at the time. So it's the original Battlestar Galactica, not the new series. And this is the Imperious leader. So it's more or less in the same sort of size as a Star Wars figure. The card has the picture of the Imperious leader here, and then you've got the figure here. He's got quite a pink face with a sort of purplish hair and this big pink robe. I had this figure when I was a kid as well, so I do remember playing with these. So these are distributed by Mattel, and you know, if you grew up in the 70s, you would probably most likely like the original Battlestar Galactica as well. These figures don't have holes in their feet like the Star Wars figures. And here's on the back, this is the first series of figures you could get. You can get the Ovian, which I had, Cylon, which I had, Imperious Leader I had, I think I had 2 Cylons, the Daggett, I'm pretty sure I had that, Commander Adama, and Lieutenant Starbuck. So I had all of these figures when I was a kid. Okay, so this is a Mattel Battlestar Galactica Series 1 card, and it says authentic reproductions and costumes and details, each sold separately. Figures not for use with Battlestar Galactica vehicles. The vehicles they did make were a lot smaller. Mattel Incorporated 1978. Made and printed in Hong Kong. And there's the figure. It comes with this huge cloth cape, and as far as I can remember, the arms will just move, the head won't move at all, and the legs move. So pretty limited articulation. Condition of the card's fair, so not bad for something that's, how old is this now? Pretty old. 33 years old. Okay, bubble's pretty clear, dented at the top there. Got a crease here on the card, big crease there, and a bit of crease around the punch. So there you are, Battlestar Galactica, Imperious Leader, cost $1.97. I don't know if that was sold in England or the USA. And there you go. Mattel Imperious Leader from Battlestar Galactica. Okay, here we've got Salacious Crumb from the Jabba the Hutt playset from 1983. So here it is, made in Hong Kong, 1983. So there you are, Salacious Crumb. It comes with a little tail. I'm sure this is pretty similar to the new Salacious Crumb that's been released. So there you are, Salacious Crumb. Okay, here we've got a vintage 1983 tri-logo Klaatu skiff guard outfit. But as you can easily see, that Klaatu figure is the earlier version of Klaatu. So that version of Klaatu's been re-released recently on the vintage line collection. So this is a very common, it's what you call a miscard. So it's a tri-logo miscard, and there's quite a few of these. I've got a few others. I've got the Biker Scout on R5D4, the Squid Head on Ree-Yee's card, Yoda on a Warwick card, and what else? I've got Han Solo on French Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker card, and Death Squad Commander on the ATST card. Most of those are tri-logos, excepting the Luke Jedi. So these are fairly sought after, and you do come across them. They tend to have thin bubbles, and the bubbles can be really dented and crashed and cracked. So you've got to be really careful with the bubbles. This figure gets an 80. overall, it's at 80 near mint. The card gets 80, bubble 80, figure 85, and the only thing is on the left foot is quite a lot of frosting on the black boot. The other boot's fine, but that boot, the left boot, has lots of frosting on it. Frosting's what appears on certain figures. It tends to be black paint, actually. So it must be something to do in it's a chemical reaction, and no one's sure what it really is. It could be a mold or something like that, or just a chemical reaction. I don't know if you can really see it, but on that foot there, which is black, or meant to be black, it looks kind of grey, and that's all frosting there. So I don't know if that's a recent thing, but this looks quite like a recent grading, so it must have been there. The figure comes with a really nice cloth cape, and is quite well detailed for its time. Head, arms, and legs swiveled. That's it. So this is the most common of the miscarded figures. So if you ever come across one of these, it's most likely to be this one, which is the Klaatu Skiff with the Klaatu original on it. So there you are. That's the Klaatu, and it's the tri-logo card. As you all know, 3 logos, English, French and Spanish. And we'll look at the back of the card. Typical tri-logo shows 79 figures, the last 2 blacked out, which are the Ewoks. And there you are. Klaatu miscard. So that's meant to be that should be Klaatu Skiff. It looks like according to Stefan Fankel, who wrote that book Tri-Logo to Meccano to Tri-Logo, he says that these miscards were made in France, and they just used whatever figures they had left over and tried to match them up with the closest cards they had left, just to get them out and set them off. So there you are. So there you are. Tri-Logo miscard. Not that rare, but still not that common either. So there you are. Klaatu. Quite nice, apart from the frosting on the left foot. But still, the card's very nice. The figure. They say you can get rid of frosting by shining ultraviolet light onto the figure. But I've never tried that, so there you go. Klaatu Skiff miscard. Nice figure.
You see the problem with the cups we have these days is that it's going to affect the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
They're very vulnerable. Unless we can have solution of relieving their suffering, then I'll just carry on with the same. There's more degradation, more suffering.
More animation. Talk. Don't look in the camera.
Yeah.
You know?
Say something, Martin.
All these cats and these specific stuff on the tourist market as well. I bet full function the toilet maker and one of these cats, underhand cats.
Okay, here we got Reese on a Power of the Force 2 card, and he is from about 97. Let's see, yeah, 97. So I think at the time he was a fan. You had to get him off the fan club, so he's a bit hard to track down. I never got him at the time. So, and this one's AFA graded. It's graded AFA 85. Card gets 85, bubble 85, figure 90, and it comes with an action slide freeze frame, and you can see that picture on the back of the card. It's a really good figure. It's quite a large figure. Nice, excellent sculpt. If you look closely, you can see they've really done a great job on the head, and it's not too bulky. It's a really nice effect on the costume, the fabric, and he looks like a solid character, like a solid, because he was always portrayed as being a bit drunk in the not that I can say anything, because I had a bit of a hangover this morning myself, so not sure how I got home or anything like that. Oh dear. So and So he was a bit, there he is having a nice drink. That was, well, you know, there's free drinks at work last night. That was a big mistake for me because, you know, I felt pretty sick this morning, but that's my own stupidness. So here you got Yak Face. I wasn't sick though, but, you know. There's Yak Face, C-3PO, and the drunk Reese. And it says here, even with a court full of conspirators, Jabba the Hutt never suspected Reese as a potential assassin. Reese cut a deal with the Empire to destroy Jabba, but fate would save that role for Princess Leia. It's got other figures there, Gamorrean Guard, the Tarkin, Luke's Ceremonial, 2 creature sets, and other stuff like that. And how to get the actual freeze frame binocular thing. And then you've got the figure again. There he is, Reese, excellent figure. Okay, sorry about the lighting, is a bit dark today. There he is, Reese, great figure. Has a fight with Yak Face, according to legend. So there you are. The very drunk Yak Face. And I'm hungover, so I know how he feels. Okay, so there you are, Yak Face, Reese. Okay. So there you are, great figure. So it just goes to show you that even Power of the Force, some of the Power of the Force figures are amazing. This is a great figure. So the head sculpt is just amazing. Like, you can't really see it, can't really pick up the details, but look at that. So an amazing piece of work, that head, and the costume as well. So that's a great figure. Okay, so the reason why my channel is called MKM Films is that me and my friends, we used to make videos together, and that's what we used to call ourselves, MKM, so the K is my name, and then the M and the other M's are 2 other characters. But I've used that name on YouTube, and I can't change it. So, but it's quite it's an okay name. And you know, I tend to do a lot of Star Wars stuff. I do modern stuff, plus there's a lot of stuff from the 80s, which is my favourite stuff. So, you know, hopefully there's something on my channel that will, you know, interest you. I've probably got some of the longest videos there. I tend to edit on YouTube as well, so I just put loads of videos together that I've already made and just stack them all together. So I've got some really long videos on YouTube. Also, I reckon maybe perhaps one of the weirdest places to do a Star Wars review from would be in a graveyard, which I've done that twice. First time in 2010 and then earlier this summer. And then other things I do, I make other proper short films as well, so it's not just Star Wars. That's more my hobby, and then, you know, when I get time and I can find someone to act in my terrible film, like Stalin and Ho and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, anyway, cheers. Okay, here we've got the Red Guard from, or Senate Security from 2005, Revenge of the Sith card. And it's, okay, the light's pretty bad. I'm going to have to, let's see if I can get better. Okay, so you've got 2 versions of this figure. It came on the same card. You've got the blue one and the red one. But out of the 2, probably the red one's slightly harder to track down. Comes with a blaster rifle and a pistol, like a biker scout pistol it looks like, and this just looks like the exact, like the Emperor's Royal Guard. Okay, let's see if I can, I'm gonna have to put the light on, I think. Okay, I'll put the light on, slightly better I guess. Okay, so now here you've got the Red Royal Guard, Senate Security from the Revenge of the Sith line, 2005. This one's AFA graded, but it's not a high grade, it's only an 80 overall. And the card gets 80 bubble, 85, figure 95, so the figure's a high grade though. You can get, like I said earlier, you can get a lot of these AFA figures, modern figures, pretty cheap if you go on eBay. So this one was £5 plus another £4 $50 for postage and packaging, so you can't go wrong with that. So there you are. So you're probably paying, you could get the figure not AFA graded for about £6-7. This is what, £2 more, and it's in a case. So much. There you've got the two guards. You can get the red guard and the blue guard. Star Wars Senate Security red card. Okay. And then if you look on the back, you can see a typical Revenge of the Sith card. You've got the two images of the guard, blue or red, and then you've got a picture of the blue guard, and then different figures you could get in the series, and then a go to Hasbro.com. So there you are. Okay, so Royal Guard, and it says the Royal Guard is Coruscant's most elite security force. During his rise to power, Palpatine seized control of all Senate security, consolidating the Blue Senate Guards and his own Crimson Personal Guard under his direct authority. So there you are, you've got the Blue Guard and the Red Guard. And then this one here is the Red Guard. Let's see if we can look at it better. Okay, there's the grade 80 near mint, and there's the figure. Okay, getting lots of reflection from the window. There's your Red Guard, great figure. Easy to track down. Looks cool. Emperor's Royal Guard. So there you are. There you are. If I say there you are again. There's your Red Guard anyhow. So AFA good. Okay, Revenge of the Sith cards aren't my favourite. I don't really like them that much. I don't like the backing cards. I prefer other... I think these are my least favourite cards really. Backing cards out of all the Star Wars ones so far. I mean, it looks okay, but I just think they could have done a better job of that. I prefer the Saga Blue Episode 1 cards, Power of the Force 2. So, out of all the modern cards, these cards are probably the ones that are my least favourite. I guess obviously the new 2010-11 vintage retro cards, the OTC cards, they're the best ever, apart from the original vintage cards, but they cost an arm and a leg. So I mean, you can get modern cards pretty cheap on eBay now, so this one might be worth tracking down because it's the harder to find than the Blue Guard. Average price in the UK for this figure carded will be about £7, and then probably cheaper in the USA. So there you are, the Red Guard. Got an 80 because if you look at just there's a little crease just around the sort of hanger thing. Cool figure though. Okay, what can you say about onions? Remember that last year, the Onion King? He was given the wisdom of an onion by his son. Can you elaborate upon that yourself? Anything to say about onions?
Yeah. Because if you've never tried an onion buggy, you've never lived.
Okay, here we've got a bit of an eBay horror story. So I ordered this last Friday and it came on Monday, but it doesn't resemble the picture that the seller had. It is the correct size, the proper item, but what's happened is it's been crushed in the post. It was placed in an envelope like this, and so thus it has been it was posted through my letterbox. I mean, it was meant to be signed for, and it's been really badly crushed. As you can see it's been all bent around here, around here. That was pushed out, creased here, creased here, creased there. The bubble has probably been slightly creased a bit more. I mean, it was a bit dented at the top anyhow, but it's been made worse. And so I'm in a dispute now with the seller, saying, and PayPal, over this item because it's not what the condition, you know, with vintage stuff, like this is from the 1980s, this is an 83 Canadian card, and you know, this is not acceptable because I paid over 30 quid for this, and you know, the card should be in a much better condition. The postman posted it through my letterboxes, which was too small for this to be posted through, and it got crunched. Look how crushed it is around here, there, and there. It's ridiculous. And so now I've had to contact the seller plus eBay and say, look, this isn't on, this isn't good enough. So, you know, he's saying he's never had this problem before, that the postman had it signed for. I never signed for anything. I was at work. I was up 5:20 in the morning that day, Monday morning, and I didn't get home till about 6 o'clock, 6:30. So, you know, when did I sign for it? That's a good question, you know. I never signed for it. And look how mashed up it is. It's all creased up the top there. Crease there, crease there, crease there. This ain't good enough, man. If you're posting Star Wars figures, you've got to post them in a box like this, you know? This is a box. You post them in a box so they don't get mashed up. You know what I'm saying, man? So, hopefully eBay will rule in my favour and I'll get a full refund. I better do anyhow, otherwise I'm going to tell them to go bleep themselves, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so this is, if you're sending stuff in the mail, Star Wars vintage items, don't send them in packages, send them in boxes and protect them, put bubble wrap and newspaper and stuff like that inside that protects the thing. And then the postman can't post it through the letterbox because it's so small, so he's got to take it back to the post thing and then I can go collect it. That's what usually happens. Posting it in a flipping packet is a joke. Obviously it's going to get bent up, it's going to get crushed in transit as well. So what's the geezer thinking, man? Anyway, so just a word of caution. If I show you the back as well, I mean, it's a really nice card. It's Canadian, all that sort of stuff. Oops. So there you are, Canadian. So you can see how crunched and mashed up this card is at the back as well. So there you are. Lots of dents. This thing's ruined. Just because you couldn't be bothered to put it in a cardboard box. And now I've got to go through all the hassle of going to eBay and, you know, having a dispute. What a hassle, man. You know. So that's a big, you know, big no-no in my book. You should, I mean, what's the tragic thing is a beautiful Canadian card, Wicket, has been ruined. You can't trust the postal services to look after stuff. You've got to put it in a box and write fragile on it. You know, I mean, look how tiny that figure is. It's Wicket. So this figure's just been re-released as well in a vintage 2010 figure. So there you are, Wicket, Warwick Wicket, or Wicket W. Warwick. Shame this card's been mashed up. So, I mean, the only way you can make money on this now is to send it to AFA and get it U-graded. But then that's more money to spend, and you're losing the card, the Canadian card. Anyway, there's my rant for the day. Just if you're posting stuff, send it in a box, not in a packet. I mean, look at this packet. This is what it was in, and it can get easily crushed. Look at that, ridiculous. It offers no protection at all. So there you are. Rant. Hi, I'm gonna be, hello, testing this time.
Disabled and a sucking us out in it, kind of thing. Hey, man, the winners and the game, yeah. Siberian campers. You stand out on the fence again. You don't want to capture these cars.
Huh?
Martin. You stand by here, eh? Before the film ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got to do that little bit at the end. You know, with the slow tunes, like the bells. The most beautiful music of Russia.
Yeah, when the bell starts, when the bell tolls.
And then you got that Sicelo one, and at the end, you got to put at the end the one in English, the red flag. It's sung in English. So we end in English, and we start in English. You know the international. See, that's the French tune. It was taken up by the Bolsheviks and the other social revolutionaries. The Paris Commune. 1880s.
Was it?
International. So it's even before the Bolsheviks ever started in country.
Yeah, they got Rudy and Ferdinand and friends into that iconic paint splattered stone rose image. It just